In modern fighting games, you can use whatever you want. So I actually use this little buddy right here, right. So I use this. I use an arcade stick. This was the standard. You guys don't understand. This was like the standard. I actually have a video to share. East Coast shaky cam footage. The year is 2007, I want to say. At this point, in this video, I've been playing Melty Blood for about a year. Unlike today, so in modern days, there's tournaments all the fucking time. Especially like pre-COVID, there was a time when I felt like I was going to a major every other week. I was like just traveling so much. Where back in the day, in the so-called dark ages, there was just not as many tournaments. There was actually a tournament near where I went to school in Philly, so I went there. But the only issue is that at that time, I was playing on pad. I think I still have the pad too. Wait, actually, there's no way. I'll tell you guys in a second why there's no way I have this pad. I don't have the pad. So the only issue is this tournament is at an arcade, right? So if you can see the pixels, I'm playing Akio Vermilion. I'm the character on the left, playing against a Shiki tonal player, Tenchi. Maybe you heard of him, maybe you haven't. If you don't play the game, are just like, this looks okay, I guess. But if you do play the game, you're like, bro, what are you doing? And the big issue is because I don't play on stick, I can't move around. This character I'm playing is actually really fast. You don't have to be fast. You can just explode. Long story short, we get to the end of the set. I get desperate and switch to Scion because I'm like, I can't play my main. Like, I just can't play my main on this fucking, like, ball joystick at buttons. I'm making a lot of combo mistakes. Like, can't move. Can't get over there. You know, Oki ever. Tenchi played stick for a long time. I think he played like Third Strike at this time, so like he's got it on deck. I don't got shit on deck. Notice how he's like running circles around me. I'm just like, bruh, not blocking in the air, making all these mistakes. Okay, dead. Hate to see it. Because of this very set, right? Because of this set, I was fucking mauling. I was tight. And after talking with some friends, they formally convinced me to learn stick. And they reminded me, they were like, dude, why did you start playing, and especially like this game in the first place? Like, what motivated you? Like, you have to remember, right? This tournament, baby, esports in 2005. After getting a Togeki DVD, this is in 2005. We keep memeing about esports, but they were ahead of the game. This is the reason why I got into fighting games. I saw this shit and I was like, oh my god, like look at this shit. Look at this intro. They got the player cards on the jumbotron, the fucking smoke, the players walking through. The big thing about this tournament right here, they're playing on arcade, so I can't play in this tournament if I play on pad. I can never ever play. It's not even I'm not allowed to play, I just would not be able to play on the arcade cabinet, right? So I had no choice but to learn. So at this point, I make the choice, I will learn new stuff on stick until I get to the point where I can't go back to pad. And it worked. So the thing is, not just this tournament was on stick, but like there are games that are just made for sticks. There are games that are made for sticks. This very game right here, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, this game is not made for home consoles. This game is made for arcades. Not only is it, you know, it came out in arcades first, but you can even see it in the game where you're in training mode and you're looking at your inputs. There's an input display on the bottom, right? It has the 4 buttons. This game's a 4-button game, right? It has the 4 buttons in a box because in arcades, this is the layout. Like on Persona, if it's a dedicated Persona arcade cabinet, there's only 4 buttons in a square like that. So A and then B is on the bottom, C is on the top right, and D is on the bottom right. And then all the macros, all the multi-button things are also like, so sweep right there, throw, these 2 here, DP here. That's why those buttons are what they are. On pad, they could be a little bit awkward. Even here in button settings, it shows you. The reason why it shows you like this is literally the arcade layout. This is what they recommend. This is not even recommend. This is like what you have to use in arcades. So if we go to Strive has an arcade version now. And the good news is that it is Guilty Gear. So long-time people who played arcades can just use the same 5-button layout. But they reworked a bunch of these characters so that they're easier to play on pad. And people who are new can play them also. When you look at a lot of these characters, so one of the main obvious ones would be Zato. So Zato is a character that releases buttons. So Zato has negative edge. So if you don't know what that is, it's when you hold a button and release the button, that's when the input comes out, as opposed to just pressing the button. It's pretty counterintuitive. There are some characters that have this in the Arc Sys game. So let's say summon. So if I hold a button and then let go of the H button, then it comes out, as opposed to doing like, say, just quarter circle, this comes out, and this comes out. So you can get different inputs and sequences if you're able to do the negative edge. The way they changed him is that they put some of these moves behind quarter circles so people can actually do it. 'Cause before, it really was not like that. And then on top of that too, everyone's inputs are like a lot simpler than before. It's a little bit tougher in a game like GG because like people have a lot of moves. The combination of like thinking about console by default as opposed to arcade by default is the main thing they changed since the past. This started actually in Persona. So like the main thing that actually killed arcade sticks, I feel like, is new games. It's actually new players kill arcade sticks. In Persona, back when this game came out, there was many criticism by longtime fighting game players about this game when it came out. But one of the main ones is this. So this is just a move list, right? Do you notice a lack of something here? Everything is quarter circles in this game. You get the occasional down. I don't think there are any half circles at all. Supers are generally just double quarter circles. There's no DP inputs, no half circle inputs. There's no half circle forward like Guilty Gear. Just everything is quarter circle. If you watch the game, you see DPs all the time. Like this is a DP, and funny enough, this is a fucking DP. They put the DP on 2 buttons instead of doing a DP input. This is the first game where like ArcSys started really changing the inputs with new players in mind. They did the same thing in Dragon Ball. They tweaked inputs in Guilty Gear, but like they still have like classic Guilty Gear inputs in there as well. So I actually think it's that age of making games for new players that killed arcade sticks, which is not a bad thing though. Like, it's not a bad thing for things to be possible so more people can play the games. Negative edge characters, I don't want to say they're a relic of the past, straight up. The fact is, they definitely were not thinking about pads for that context. If you played Mortal Kombat, by the way, and you're watching this, Mortal Kombat's ahead of the curve. So in Injustice, they had a stick mode because Mortal Kombat's inputs are actually like just down forward button, for example, instead of like quarter circle. It's just down forward, down back. Like it's even more simplified actually than like your traditional fighting game inputs. And then there's actually one more thing we have to talk about. One more thing that actually killed sticks. It's this thing. This is called a hitbox. So the idea is that even the directions are buttons. It's pretty weird. If you switch from pad to stick, so you're switching from going like this with a pad, right, to going like this with a stick. So then you're just going like this. It's just like a fancy keyboard, basically. Keyboard warriors ahead of the curve. But the thing about keyboard is keyboard has so many problems being able to be used on consoles, where hitbox is like plug in and play solution. Now, apparently too, the strength of this definitely depends on the game. So in anime games, they help, but it's not ridiculous. In Dragon Ball for a while, it was actually a huge advantage to play hitbox, but now it's like not such a huge advantage. But apparently in Tekken, hitbox is like broken. So like I actually haven't been told why. All I hear is that like hitbox is ridiculous for playing Tekken. So now with the spread of peripherals and all the tournaments basically being run on console or a PC if you're competing at home, like online, you don't need to use an arcade stick. Arcade stick's main value, besides flexing in the community, like, yeah, I'm a real fighting game player. Yeah. Like, look at me, bro. Real fighting game player right here, baby. OG. Fucking before 2009, that fucking energy. But another thing about it is that if you play old games, then you're chilling, because like old games have like 6 buttons, 5 buttons. A lot of them, everything's made with arcade in mind, so you're good there. Something I personally like about stick is that you can tell why you mess up. Because when you're on a pad, you're kind of just like going like this, rolling your thumbs. So sometimes you don't really know where corners are and stuff. Where on a stick, you can very clearly, very clearly, oh shit, you can very clearly just move this thing around. I'm really bad at it, but you can feel all the corners, especially if the thing is new. You can feel exactly where you're moving and like how much throw there is and stuff. But hitbox does it better. So like today, you don't really have to spend like $200 on a stick unless you want to do it for the culture or you just really like ASMR. Long story short, the answer to the question, what controller should I play on, is whatever fucking works for you. Any questions?